The Outsiders, Chapter 1. When I stepped out into the bright sunlight from the darkness of the movie house, I had only two things on my mind: Paul Newman and a ride home. I was wishing I looked like Paul Newman. He looks tough, and I don't. But I guess my looks aren't so bad. I have light brown hair, almost reddish and greenish gray eyes. I wish they were more gray. I wish they were more gray. Because I hate most guys that have green eyes. But I have to be content with what I have. My hair is longer than a lot of boys wear theirs, squared off in the back and long in the front and sides. But I'm a greaser, and most of my neighborhood rarely bars to get a haircut. Besides, I look better with long hair. I had a long walk home with no company, but I usually don't know anyway, for no reason except that I like to watch movies undisturbed, so I can get into them and live with the actors. When I see a movie with someone, it's kind of uncomfortable, like having someone read a book over your shoulder. I'm different that way. My second oldest brother, Soda, who's 16 going on 17, never cracks a book at all. And my oldest brother, Daryl, who we all call Derry, works too long and hard to be interested in a story or drawing a picture. So I'm not like them. And nobody in our gang digs movies and books the way I do. For a while there, I thought I was the only person in the world that did. So I loaned it. Soda tries to understand, at least. Which is more than Derry does. But then, Soda is different from anybody. He understands everything. Almost. Like, he's never hollering at me all the time the way Derry is, or shooting me as if I have 6 instead of 14. I love Soda more than I've ever loved anyone, even Mom or Dad. He's always happy-go-lucky and grinning, while Derry's hard and firm and rarely grins at all. But then, Derry's gone through a lot in his 20 years, growing up too fast. Soda Pop will never grow up, at all. I don't know which way's the best. I'll find out one of these days. Anyway, I went on walking home, thinking about the movie, and suddenly wishing I had some company. Greasers can't walk alone too much or they'll get jumped. Or someone will come by and scream "Greaser" at them, which doesn't make you feel too hot, if you know what I mean. We could jump out of socks. I'm not sure how you spell it, but it's an abbreviation for socials. The jet set. The West Side rich kids. It's like the term greaser, which is used to class all us boys on the east side. We're poorer than the Sox, and the middle class. I reckon we're wilder too. Not like the Sox, who jump greasers and wreck houses and throw beer blasts for kicks, and get editorials in the paper for being a public disgrace one day and acid society the next. Greasers are almost like hoods. We steal things and drive old, souped-up cars and hold up gas stations and have a gang fight once in a while. I don't mean I do things like that. They would kill me if I got into trouble with the police. Since Mom and Dad were killed in an auto wreck, the three of us get to stay together only as long as we behave. So Soda and I stay out of trouble as much as we can, and we're careful not to get caught when we can't. I only mean that most greasers do these things like that. Just like we wear our hair long and dress in blue jeans and t-shirts, or leave our shirt tails out and wear leather jackets or tennis shoes or boots. I'm not saying that either soaks or greasers are better. That's just the way things are. I could have waited to go to the movies until Derry or Soda got off work. They would have gone with me, or driven me there, or walked along, although Soda just can't sit still long enough to enjoy a movie, and they bore Derry to death. Derry thinks his life is enough without inspecting other people's. Or I could have gotten one of the gang to come along. One of the four boys Derry, Soda, and I have grown up with and consider family. We're almost as close as brothers. When you grow up in a tight-knit neighborhood like ours, you get to know each other real well. If I had thought about it, I could have called Derry and he would have come by on his way home and picked me up. Or T. Matthews, one of our gang, would have come to get me in his car if I had asked him. But sometimes I just don't use my head. It drives my brother Derry nuts when I do stuff like that, because I'm supposed to be smart. I make good grades and I have a high IQ and everything, but I don't use my head. Besides, I like walking. I about decided I didn't like it so much, though, when I spotted the red Corvair trailing me. I was almost 2 blocks from home then, so I started walking a little faster. I had never been jumped, but I had seen Johnny after 4 Sox got a hold of him, and it wasn't pretty. Johnny was scared of his own chatter after that. Johnny was 16 then. I knew it wasn't any of use, though. The fast walking, I mean. Even before the Corvair pulled up beside me and 5 socks got out. I was pretty scared. I'm kind of small for 14, even though I have a good build and those guys were bigger than me. I automatically hitched my phones in my jeans and slouch, wondering if I could get away if I made a break for it. I remember Johnny, his face all cut up and bruised. I remember how he had to cry when we found him, half conscious in the corner lot. Johnny had it awful rough at home. It took a lot to make him cry. I was sweating something fierce, although I was cold. I could feel my palms getting clammy and the precipitation running down my back. I get like that when I'm real scared. I glanced around for a pop bottle or a stick or something. Steve Randall, so his best friend, had once held off 4 guys with a busted pop bottle, but there was nothing. So I stood there like a bum on a log while they surrounded me. I don't use my head. They walked around slowly, silently, smiling. "Hey, Grease," one of them said in an overly friendly voice. "We're going to do you a favor, Greaser. We're going to cut off all that long, greasy hair off. We're going to cut all that long, greasy hair off." He had on a Madras shirt. I can still see it. Blue Madras. One of them laughed, then cussed me out in a low voice. I couldn't think of anything to say. There just wasn't a whole lot you can say while waiting to get mugged, so I kept my mouth shut. "Need a haircut, Greaser?" The medium-sized blonde pulled out a knife out of his back pocket and flipped the blade open. I finally thought of something to say. No. I was backing up, away from the knife. Of course, I backed right into one of them. They had me down a second. They had my arms and legs pinned down. They had me down a second. They had my arms and legs pinned down, and one of them was sitting on my chest with his knees on my elbows. If you don't think that hurts, you're crazy. I smelled English leather shaving motion and stale tobacco. I was wondering foolishly if I would suffocate before they did anything. I was scared so bad, I was wishing I would. I fought to get loose, and almost did for a second. Then they tightened up on me, and the one on my chest slugged me a couple of times. So I lay still, swearing up between gasps. A blade was held up against my throat. "How'd you like that haircut to begin just below the chin?" It occurred to me then that they could kill me. I went wild. I started screaming for soda, dairy, anyone. Someone put his hand over my mouth, and I bit as hard as I could, tasting the blood running through my teeth. I heard him utter curse and got slugged again. And they were stuffing a handkerchief into my mouth. One of them kept saying, "Shut him up, for Pete's sake, shut him up." Then there were shouts and the pounding of feet, and the socks jumped up and left me lying there, gasping. I lay there and wondered what in the world was happening. People were jumping over me and running by me, and I was too dazed to figure it out. Then someone had me under the armpits and was hauling me to my feet. It was Derry. "Are you alright, pony boy?" He was shaking me, and I wished he'd stop. I was dizzy enough anyway. I could tell it was Derry, though, partly because of the voice, partly because